Everyone, how's it going? I want to talk about walking in your giftings and your callings, and then what's a natural talent, skill, and ability that you have. Many of us throughout life have had experiences that are kind of like touching a hot stove, and we've made choices and decisions to not do certain things because of that. However, you could accidentally, I believe, not on purpose, not because you've even really chosen to or wanted to, suppress a natural gift, talent, or ability out of the reaction that it received when it was unrefined. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, when we're younger, especially when we're younger, we do certain things without any regard or worry about how it's going to affect anybody else, and we just experiment, and then we get in trouble. We experience something that tells us don't do that again. And over time, as adults, we choose, I'm not going to do that thing again. And I'm going to give you an example of this. One of them for me was speaking up, being bold and persuasive. That's something that I had a natural talent at when I was younger, but it always ended up getting me in trouble. And so I made choices probably for almost 30 years. I'm going to be real serious here. For 30 years to not be bold, to not speak up, to not be persuasive, even though that was actually a natural gift and talent, I was walking in this fear, worry, shame, guilt, worried about being what is naturally implanted in me, how I was as a child. Whatever that was, that thing that got you in trouble when you were a kid. I'm not talking about the trouble that you did, because as adults, we grow in experience, wisdom, knowledge, and we learn how to use the natural giftings, the natural abilities through a lens of our experience to communicate and live in the world and live and coexist with other human beings. You see, when a child throws a temper tantrum, it's cute. When an adult does, it's not so cute. Okay, but when you are bold as a child, you might say something that maybe it will embarrass your parents or embarrass your babysitter or somebody around you. But when you're an adult, if you suppress that boldness, you could actually be suppressing the very thing that's inside of you that was a gifting that's been there since you were born, but you put it down because it's a safe place, because you want love and connection from others. You want to be validated. You want to feel special. I did a podcast on this specifically. It was called Not Another Talk on Finding Your Why. And it's about this. It's actually about finding your natural gifting, talents, and abilities and your why for things. And many of us, we do stuff in life just to receive validation, just to be told, great job, just to feel like, okay, I did this the right way. So now I can be worthy of what I'm going after. And when we can unlock that and no longer need to receive validation as our only decision maker. You see, when validation becomes your trigger to make decisions for your life, and it becomes it's your only decision maker. If I'm not validated, I will decide not to do that. If I am, I will decide to do more of it. This happens naturally. All of us are guilty of it. We just might call it something else. In fact, this is something that happens without us even trying in our culture. I've not really met anybody that doesn't have this in some way or another. For instance, we're not going to do something that's criminal because we're going to be validated as a criminal. So we don't do those type of things. Sidebar to that. Sometimes there's decisions and choices, natural gifting, talents, and abilities that we've had since we were younger that we put down because we weren't validated in them during that season, or we used it in the wrong way. We used it in a way that was maybe self-serving, and then in that, it actually didn't validate us, so we stopped doing it. I go into this in about an hour in that podcast, and I'm going to leave it in a link in the comments and in the description for you to listen to that. But I want to encourage you of this. If you notice maybe an area that you grew up with a natural skill, talent, or ability to do something, and over time, over life, you've realized, wow, I've really moved away from that. I've really moved away from that place out of fear of what other people will think, out of worry about how it will have ramifications, Consequences, listen, every action and choice that you make has consequences, including not walking in your gifting, talents, and abilities. Not doing what you were created for has far more negative consequences than maybe stepping out and taking a risk and being vulnerable enough to do that. I think vulnerability has kind of become a little bit of a buzzword lately, so I'm not even trying to use that, but really opening up, letting go of the comfort zone that you hold on to. Think of it like a blanket. It's a warm blanket or a favorite jacket. That's what your comfort zone is. It's comfortable and you're living in it, but you can't get outside of it until you take it off. And when you take it off, then your talents, giftings start to show, because your comfort zone generally only allows you to operate within the boundaries of that comfort zone. Look at your life, maybe just a little bit. I don't want you to take hours and get introspective on this, but just think about it maybe throughout your day. What are some things that I wish I could do? What did I want to do when I was younger? How did I act? How did I behave when I was a kid that maybe got me in trouble? And then think about, if I acted that way as an adult, what would happen? Well, if you acted the way you did as a kid as an adult, it probably wouldn't turn out very well for you. If I had acted the way that I did as a child, now I've tried that and it's gotten me in more trouble because I just come across as an arrogant jerk. But I realize I got a lot of empathy. I care about other people. And if I don't speak boldly, if I don't speak up about what I know is truth inside of me, to share it with others, to come alongside, to encourage, not to be self-serving for me, but to encourage other people, that's actually a natural gifting and talent that I was suppressing for a long time out of fear of what other people would think about it. And in fact, as soon as I let that go and really just forgave myself, forgave the situation, forgave the people that made me feel that way, and I released it, and I just walked out my calling and what I was created for, it became a lot easier. And I only say me and show an example of me to encourage you as a testimony. The power of the testimony is this: if I could do it, so can you. And I want to encourage you of that for the longest time I walked around worried to speak up, feeling like there was a gag order on my voice, that I couldn't talk, that I couldn't say what was inside of me, that I wasn't allowed to. And I realized I was blaming it on other people for the longest time. When in fact what it was decisions that I had made where validation was more important to me than walking in my calling and destiny. And I made choices that affected my interactions and my relationships as well as business interactions. And I had a situation recently about a month and a half ago to where I hadn't been bold enough a month or 9 months ago, and it had affected a current relationship I was having now because I wasn't walking in boldness and was seeking validation. And it convicted me, and I said, wow. And we both realized, imagine if I had walked in that 9 months ago, how much further ahead our project would have been. Now that's a business thing, sure, but that's a side effect of this whole mindset affecting every area of life. And when we seek validation, we don't even listen to other people. We don't even listen to what other people are saying. We're just caring about how we feel. Take a look at what your natural skill, talents, and abilities were as a child. What got you in trouble? What you could apply your wisdom as an adult to not do what you did as a child, but to take that skill. Okay, I was bold. I would say anything to any stranger in a public place, not be worried what they would think. Okay, that's a natural thing that's inside of me. So now if I walk in that with wisdom, now that takes me further. That's what I was actually created for. When you realize this, when we look in our lives, don't take a long time looking into this. But we just realize this still small voice. What are those little things that maybe I haven't been doing that I did when I was a kid? And what could I maybe do now to have more childlike faith, childlike wonder, look at the world like a child and step out, not worried about just what the ramifications are. We realize life has consequences, but not doing what we're called to do has even more consequences that are negative for us. So I want to encourage you to grow your life this week, today. Take a look at that. What is one of those things? Maybe either leave a comment below, talk with a friend, family member, talk through this. This is a conversation that we need community and people to help us with as well. So talk with maybe somebody that's trusted. If you don't have somebody to do that, you can find somebody in our Grow Your Life community, maybe an accountability partner, somebody like that. I believe that you can get through this, and I believe that you can walk in your destiny and your calling and the greatness of what God created you for in your life. Grow your life, everybody.